can't believe baseline season is officially over and it's actually time to do some 70.3 specific training. If you're new here, I'm Emmeline. I am currently training for my first 70.3 Ironman, which is a triathlon of 1.9 kilometers of swimming, 90 kilometers of biking, and 21.1 kilometers of running. I've been documenting my journey week over week, so you can catch up on that series right over here. So week 12 has officially come to an end, so let's recap and see how it all went down. So last week, I unfortunately did not hit 100% of my workouts. I did 1.6 kilometers of swimming, 52 kilometers of biking, and 17 kilometers of running. So this was a total of 8 activities, which equates to 73% of completed workouts. As you can see, I unfortunately did not do the workouts on Friday, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how this week went, despite it not being 100%. It is a step up from the previous week. As you can see, it was only 50%, and the week before that was 18%. So I'm still kind of slowly going back into the groove from when I got sick, so it's still an improvement from last week. So this week actually started very strong. I actually made it to the pool, and if you've been following me for some time, you know that's been a challenge, and the fact that I even made it at 7 a.m. in the morning, it was quite rare.
This is what I get for not going to the pool consistently.
I feel like it's been a long time since the last time I went swimming prior to this workout, and I really felt it during that session because I was like, it almost felt like I was out of shape, and especially during the last workout, which felt so hard because it was 100 meters at 80% effort and I had to do that 5 times. And so even though I love swimming, it's actually the hardest for me to get into out of all 3 disciplines. And I think it's because of the fact that I actually have to get ready, leave the house, and drive to a pool. Versus when it comes to running and biking, it's a lot more accessible. I can literally step out the door and do my run, or just take my bike and go out for a ride, or hop on the trainer. It's a lot easier versus like having to get into my car and go to a pool. I know it's first world problems, but for some reason it's just hard for my mind and my body to get around it. But that day I actually made it, and I was so happy, and it gave me the motivation to keep that momentum going throughout the day. So I actually managed to do a core and stability workout later in the day. And that core and stability workout is actually from the Dynamic Triathlete app, and I'm currently on the intermediate strength plan. I'm on month 2 and week 3.
No, not with my glasses.
So as you can see, I'm wearing glasses because I'm currently running low on contacts, so I had to save as many as I can before a new box gets delivered. So I was like, you know what, I might as well just keep my glasses on and just ride while I'm on the trainer. It did fog up a little bit here and there, but overall, it was fine. This time around, I did make sure I connected the right sensor to Zwift. I made sure it was the cadence sensor that was connected to count my cadence, because last time I connected my speed sensor and said that was my cadence sensor, and so my RPMs were all over the place. But this time around, it was better and it was way more accurate. So the total session was about 30 minutes, with the intervals being 2 minutes fast and 1 minute easy. So far, I've actually been enjoying my rides lately, especially the interval ones, which is weird for me to say, and I'm liking it so far out of all 3 disciplines. And I think the reason being is because my fiance and I had transformed our office into a spin studio. Like, there's ambient lighting, music is blasting, I'm like closing my eyes pretending there's like a motivational instructor telling me all these different mantras to say in my head. So I'm like really just getting into it and just kind of like honing in all the good energy into my sessions. But yeah, it's a really good time and I'm enjoying it so far. Oh my gosh, it is snowing so much right now. Like, I don't know whether or not I should run outside today or take it to the treadmill. It's supposed to be a 30-minute easy run, so I think I can swing it. I really hate running on the treadmill, and so why not just have fun with it? I'll gear up, dress warm, and then we'll see how this run goes. So I hate running on the treadmills, and I try my best to run outside as much as possible just because time goes by a lot slower on the treadmill. And since it was only a 30-minute easy run and it was fresh snowfall, I thought, you know what, it's probably safe for me to go outside and I'll just take it real slow and just kind of watch where I was going. I've ran in snow before, so I was like, okay, I kind of know how this is going to go down. But as soon as I stepped outside, I did not realize that there was at least 20 centimeters of snow, which is like the most I've seen in one day in Vancouver. And I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to run on this? The roads were pretty sketchy. Like some sidewalks were clear, some weren't. So it was really hard to like keep it consistent. So I had to really take it back and slow down. And I think my easy pace ended up being 1.5 to 2 minutes slower than my like typical easy pace. So obviously the snow put a damper on my training, especially the days following, because on Thursday I was scheduled to do a speed run, but because there was snow outside, I was like, you know what, okay, I'll take it to the treadmill. But every time I went down to the gym, the treadmill was taken. There's only one treadmill at our home gym, and I was getting so frustrated. And I was like, hey, you know what, I'm training for a triathlon. My plan can be flexible. So I decided to switch around my workouts. So instead of doing a run, I decided to do a steady ride. I'm currently on my rest period of 2 minutes after my first set of steady effort. So far, I'm getting all my gold stars. So that's a win today. I have another set of 8 minutes at 120 watts, and then I'll be cool down, and then it'll be your turn on bike. Even though I was frustrated not being able to do my run, I ended up feeling pretty happy about myself because of the fact that I got to do a workout and I was able to do a ride. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I can always do the run later on. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting more comfortable with my own bike or I'm getting stronger, but I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident on the bike, and a lot more comfortable using the different gears. Now, this is on the trainer, so again, I have to take this with a grain of salt because this might be a totally different story when I go outside. So after my ride, I went on to do the lower body program from the Dynamic Triathlete app. I try really hard to stay on top of these because I do see them as preventative exercises, which my physio likes to call prehab exercises, and these routines are intended to correct muscle imbalances and strengthen supporting muscles so that you can train pain-free. And I did find that these types of exercises made a huge difference when I did this while marathon training. So Friday came along, which was a complete write-off because I ended up not doing anything. I was scheduled to do a swim and steady ride, but because the day prior I switched my workouts, I finished the steady ride. So instead I was scheduled to do my speed run. But surprise, surprise, the treadmill was taken again and I got so frustrated. And because it's only been a couple days since the snowfall, it meant that the roads and the sidewalks were pretty icy, so I didn't want to risk it, especially because I was scheduled to do an interval run. I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to do that outside. And then throughout the day, the motivation just dipped. I guess was so fixated on the fact that I couldn't do anything, and then I just didn't have the motivation to go swim. So I was like, you know what, let's just take an unplanned rest day. I know running is my strength and it won't make a huge difference if I skip this workout. And then I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I'll just push my swimming to tomorrow morning before my long ride, and I will get my swimming in the morning, and then I will do my ride. So obviously Saturday comes along, and guess what? I did not do my swim. In the moment, I totally wasn't into it, but then after an hour or so, I started to feel training guilt, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I should have gone, like why didn't I not do this? And I had to like stop myself and ask like, what the heck? Why am I feeling such training guilt? And I'm a very type A girl where I'm into the numbers, I'm into the data, and everything has to be perfect. And then I totally remembered, because I do guided meditations, and within those meditations, there's like little lessons in them. And I recalled that there was this one session where it reminded me to embrace the imperfections, and it's not about being perfect. And I have to remind myself it's about progress, not perfection, and it's okay if I missed this workout. So even though I didn't make it to the pool that day, I have to remind myself, hey, I made it to the pool at least once this week. That is a win in itself because I barely make it to the pool ever. So I'm like, that is progress. And I also managed to fit in a long ride, which, you know, was the main workout of the day. And I managed to do an 1.5 hour long ride. And I totally forgot that I had to practice fueling. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have gels on me. I'm just going to get whatever I have in the kitchen since I was on my trainer. So I got like a jar of peanut butter, some bread, and then ate that during my ride. It wasn't the most aesthetic, but hey, hey, it worked. So on Sunday, I was scheduled for a long run, and my plan told me I had the option of running anything between 75 minutes to 2 hours. And since there was still a bunch of snow and slush on the ground, I didn't want to do the run outside. But I also didn't want to make the same mistake and risk the chance of the treadmill at home being taken. And since my fiance is also training for 70.3 as well as a marathon, he also had a long run scheduled. So we're like, you know what? Let's make an adventure out of this. Let's go to a community center where there's a lot more treadmills and do our long run there. And thankfully, there are a lot of treadmills free, so we were able to fit in our run. Time did go by a bit slower because it was on the treadmill. So of course, I chose the minimum time to run, which was 75 minutes. That concludes a week of workouts, and I think the main takeaway that I got from this week and what I have to remind myself is that progress over perfection. I was trying to get back into that mindset that I had during marathon training and actually just training overall when I was in my running season, where every session, every workout, I had to hit the paces perfectly, which is very dangerous and very unhealthy. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to get into that same dark hole, especially the fact that this is my very first one. I've never even done a triathlon before, so I have to be more compassionate and be forgiving and really just embrace the journey and learn throughout the way. So even being able to do some kind of workout is still a win in itself. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in a later one. Bye!